I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Come up real close. I want you to hear this. You know what's happening right now? A couple of people told me, they said, well, Pastor Manny, they're in their late 60s, their 70s, and their 80s. They've talked to me, and they said, Pastor Manning, I tend to not remember things as quickly as I did when I was 35 or 40 years of age. I said, yeah. They said, yeah. And then I see a lot of commercials on television about taking some sort of vitamin supplement that will help you remember things quicker. I see a lot of that on television. Maybe you do too as well. Then there's this clinically diagnosed disease called dementia, and then the granddad of that is called Alzheimer's. Let me say something to you. Did you come up close? I want to say something to you. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to Pastor Manny very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. I want to say to you, you're not losing your memory. You're not as active in your memory as you used to be. Now, the loss it should be described this way, not because you are aging and have a cognitive issue. Now, cognitive is a fancy word for saying brain activity, awareness, etc. I want you to listen to Pastor Manning. Will you listen to Pastor Manning? It isn't that you have a brain deficiency or a cognitive deficiency. No. That's not the case. Can I tell you what the problem is? Well, I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked me because I want to tell you, and you need to get to work on resolving that so you can get back to what you would consider your mental state. Number one is that you have more things to remember, if you will, to some degree. But the worst of this that I want to express to you today is that you have stopped using your memory the way you did 10, 15, 20 years ago. You don't use your brain, your mind the way you did years ago. You don't use your mind. Can I tell you why? Let me ask you something. Brother man, what's your wife's telephone number? She got a cell phone, is that right? She got a cell phone? What's your wife's cell phone number? Right? Your wife has got an email address. Is that right, brother man? Your wife got an email address. What's her email address? What is it? Right? Now, you used to know a telephone number. You used to have a telephone. Of course, you'd have a telephone book, but the telephone book was in your brain. You remembered everybody's telephone. You go to the public phone, you make to the phone booth. You drop a dime and call right from your memory. Do you remember how you used to do that? Do you remember how you knew everybody's phone number, area code, etc.? But guess what, brother man? I'm just using that. I can call sister woman if I want to. But we don't. All you got to do is pick up your cell phone now and just touch it, and it'll call whoever you want. You don't have to remember nobody's telephone number no more. That's a bad move. That's a bad move on the brain. That's causing brain inactivity. That is a bad move that you don't know your wife's telephone number no more. Because all you got to do is just touch your cell and it'll connect. That's a bad move. It is causing you to use less of your cognitive power. But I ain't through with you. Now I'm going to get to the great assignment. I got to get here. I got to do this before. I've talked about the great assignment and what it is, and I'm going to get to it. But the other thing is this. I was riding around. I got this preacher in our churches. His name is Minister Matos. He's a preacher, right? Y'all seen him. He's that guy with the ponytail from down there in Dominican Republic. He used to stand at the pulpit, but he's also security, so I got him in another security detail now. His name is Matos. He wear that ponytail from down there in Dominican Republic. Y'all have seen him. Well, he drives me around. He's a preacher, right? He drives me around. So I get in his car, And first thing he does, before he does anything, even if it's going someplace where you know how to get there, he punches into his GPS and where it's going. I'm looking, I said, why the heck you got to do that? You know, don't you get, I mean, my God, if you're going just down the Wendy's on 116th Street, you don't need to punch that in GPS, but he does. And I notice everybody else does. I notice Captain LaFleur does it. I get a Captain LaFleur's vehicle. He goes somewhere. He punches in GPS. Well, that man's just right down there on 110th Street. Why you got to punch it in? They don't make a move until they put everything in GPS. Well, my God, from Zion. Don't y'all remember when they have no GPS? You had to remember how to get someplace. You had to remember how to get to Southern Boulevard if you're going to catch up with Madre Bowman. You had to remember how to get up to Southern Boulevard to catch up with Elder Ramos. Don't y'all remember? Not now. Captain LaFleur and the Minister Matos, they don't make a move. The car's sitting there. So what you waiting on? I'm punching in my GPS. My God, you can't go nowhere without that computer, without that phone. Don't y'all remember? I used to have maps, right? It's called AAA. Elder Butler used to write out AAA's. People had to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they had to leave Brunswick, New Jersey. Elder Butler had to write out a AAA. They call it what I don't know what they call it, some sort of thing. They call it a trip planner or something like that. You have to read the map, look at the little numbers on the map, read all the numbers of the highways, all the turns. And you know, when you were using AAA or you're using maps to get to where you go, you never got lost. Remember that? And you remember stuff and you paid attention. You watching the road sign. You developing your mind. Your mind was as active as a Paisley Tire Convention. But now, GPS. I'm looking at these people. So, you know, everybody look at me and say, Pastor Man don't use GPS. Pastor Man don't use GPS. That's why he get lost so much. I'd rather get lost than lose my mind. I'd rather get lost in traffic than lose my mind like y'all people. Y'all, and here's the kicker. This thing gonna really kill you. Now that's what's happening to y'all old people. You don't remember your wife's telephone number no more. You don't use maps no more. You rely upon the computer to tell you everything. And here's another thing. Writing letter. Nobody use ballpoint pens anymore. Everybody. And I noticed I was doing something the other day. Now I'm gonna get back to the great assignment. But I was sending out a tweet the other day, sending out something the other day, and Captain LaFleur was standing there watching me. And so when I use the keypad on my phone, right? You know the keypad, right? I tap with one finger. I use this right. I just tap, 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 tap. But these people, you ever see them? They do two thumbs. Esther Butler is a two-thumber. And she's not even looking at the keyboard. She's running around talking about and then typing up a storm with two thumbs on a little old iPad on a phone. Have y'all seen that?